Hey there everybody, it's Trey here with another video. And today I want to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because it's helped transform my life in many ways. And here's what it is. It's the importance and the 5 major things that people want in a workplace culture, in a workplace environment. How to create a healthy environment for your employees, how to create a healthy environment for your colleagues where they can grow and where they can thrive. And now I want to make one thing clear. Obviously, this is different for certain people, but I think that this is a great topic for 2 huge categories. Number 1, it's for business owners, managers, leaders, supervisors, people that are in a people management position. And the second category that I think is huge for and crucial for are actually prospective employees or people that are looking for a new business or some kind of environment where they can work, a platform, whatever. It's crucial that they know exactly what to look for because, quite frankly, let's get real, and we all know this to be true, not all workplace environments are created the same. Not all office or workplace cultures are equal. And so it's important to know that if you're going to get into bed with your employer and you're going to start working with a new company, that it is a place that you can hang your hat on and be proud of being there every single day, day in, day out. So here's what I believe is one of the most important things towards building a culture, and it's about how you invest and grow your people. So let's begin. 5 major ways to build and grow culture in a workplace, and the first is recognition. Number 1, the number 1 thing that people want in a workplace is recognition. Here's what I mean by that. People want to be recognized for the work that they do, for the hard work they put in. And here's the thing that I always joke about. I think about this from time to time. Before I was in the financial sector, I used to be a public servant with the Government of Canada. My role, I worked with the residential school settlement to help survivors get compensation. I was a 19-year-old kid at the time. 19-year-old kid. I was working downtown Regina, which was my home city. I was on the 9th floor, surrounded by all the big lawyers. I thought I made it. Right? I was showing up in a suit every day. I was the best dressed person there. I showed up earlier than everyone. I stayed later than everyone. I outworked my whole damn department. And not only did I get paid the same 50 grand a year before tax that they did with zero idea how to get a promotion. And I'll touch on that in a minute, my following points. But it seemed like the only time I got recognized, even though I was doing all of that, were the days I showed up late, the 1 or 2 days I showed up late, the 1 or 2 times I made a mistake on paperwork. All of a sudden, I was recognized very quickly. I got recognized very quickly when those things happened. The truth is, nobody wants that. People want to be recognized for the work they do, for the effort they put in. And here's the key. Most of the time, a lot of that work that they're putting in is unrecognizable because they're doing the work when no one sees it. Now, how do I know that? Because it's our job and our responsibility as leaders, as business owners, as employers, to actually notice those things. There's an old saying that if you do your job right, no one will ever tell. I think that's a load of crap. I think if you do your job right, there's at least 2 people that should be able to tell. Yourself and your leader, your manager, your business leader, the owner of the company, whoever, your supervisor. The person in charge of that workplace should be able to tell. And if they are not able to tell, then that's their fault. That's on them. It's their job to notice that. It's their responsibility to see, because it's their responsibility to create a good environment. It's their responsibility to recognize their people. It's their responsibility to make sure that people actually want to show up. So if no one's noticing, it's not always just the employee's fault. It's primarily the leader's fault. So recognition is key. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean that just because your guy showed up on time for work every day for his career, that you got to fly him down to Mexico. That's not what I'm talking about. But if your guys are putting in good work and they're putting in effort, it's as simple as just telling them that you notice it, that you see it. It's like, hey, Billy, I see you putting in the hours. I see you going above and beyond. I see that you're finishing your work on time or faster than expected. I see that you're the last one out of the office. I just wanted you to know, Billy, I see that. I recognize it. I respect it. I admire it. Maybe it's you buy him a coffee when you come into the office. It's not playing favorites. It's recognition. And it gives people a reason to want to excel and succeed. And then down the road, sure, yeah, maybe you fly your whole office and your team to Bora Bora, right? Whatever. But at the beginning, before you recognize on a big scale, you have to recognize on a small scale. How could you ever do big recognition if you can't even do small recognition? People want to know that if they do good work and they're putting in their life to something, that it's actually going to play out for them and that it's actually going to matter. Point number 2, competitive pay and mobility. People want competitive pay and mobility, especially now more so than ever. In the year of 2022, with the last 2.5 years, with market recession, companies shutting down, people being laid off, people having to close the doors of their business. People want to know that they're going to be able to pay their bills, that they can provide for their spouse, that they can take care of their kids, they can put food on the table, keep a roof over their head. And that comes in the form of competitive pay. I don't just want to get paid, I want to get paid what I'm worth. I want to know that if I'm going to make an income, I'll make an income that's a reflection of how hard I work, the hours I put in. And will I be able to increase that? And is the ladder that I'm climbing clear? Do I know that I'm climbing the ladder and I know how to get up those rungs? Very rarely do people actually know that. You see, like I said, when I worked government, I got paid the same 50 grand a year before tax as everyone else. And I didn't know how to get a promotion. I didn't know how to increase my pay. Truth be told, the only way it seemed that I could actually make a decent income, a decent livelihood, if I wanted to make 6 figures, I'd have to go back to school, get a master's or a doctorate, rack up $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in student loan debt, and then maybe I could make 6 figures. Maybe. To me, that did not entice me. That did not turn me on. I needed to be in a workplace and environment where I could grow my income. Now, for me, it was business ownership. I needed to know that I could scale, right? It just made sense in my brain. It was very logical to me. I grew up around entrepreneurs. That's how I was raised. For me, I understood that in business, I could scale my income clearly and decisively. It's not always that simple in a position where you're an employee, but here's why you should care as an employer. If you do not pay your people competitively, and if you do not give them the mobility, clear mobility, to increase that income, guess what's going to happen? Someone will. Someone will offer it. Someone will offer them higher pay, a better position. Hell, they might even headhunt them in your office. It was not uncommon where people would get phone calls from corporate firms headhunting employees while they were at work. And it was even less uncommon that those people would say yes and hop ship. Because at the end of the day, you might be a super loyal employer and they might be a super loyal employee, but they still have to take care of their family. They got to pay their bills. They got to look after their kid. And if they can't do that with the income you're giving them, they're not staying. They're not staying. Which brings me into the third point. Third point, people want to have contribution and mission. Here's what I mean by that. People want to know that the work, time, and effort that they are dedicating to something actually means something. See, there's 2 different kinds of places to work out there, and there's a book as well I highly recommend people. It's called Culture Code. It was written by an author named Daniel Coyne, and it talks about the different kinds of workplace environments. It talks about different teams and organizations throughout history that were almost iconic, legendary, and what made them tick and so special. What made Pixar such an incredible animation film that every time they pump out a movie, it's quality? What made the Navy SEALs such a highly effective, highly efficient organization? What made Ford Motors so special? And so on, and so on, and so on. See, the interesting thing about those organizations was not that they were filled with the best and the brightest. It's not that they were filled with people that were incredibly high-level performers. I mean, of course, there were some high-level performers there to make it happen. That's important. But the reality is, the vast majority of them, they had 2 things in common. They had great culture, where they worked together as a unit. And the second is they were working and pushing towards something greater than themselves. That's it. So what's the mission? How are you contributing? How are you giving back? Because to be honest with you, I'm not in love with the workplace where I'm just there to punch the clock and make money. Some people are, sure, but I mean, those are always the guys you talk to them. Like, you ask them if they like their job, and they're like, "Oh, it's just something to help me pay bills, right? Like, it pays the bills, it brings in the money." Like, and they have zero freaking passion for what they do, right? Imagine if you go work at a retail store and all they're talking about is, "Oh, we got to hit our sales target, our quota, our inventory mark. We got to hit these numbers for this quarter." So the freaking store manager that doesn't even care about his people can get a bonus. Compare that, if you will, with a company like, say, Amazon, controversial though they may be, with their target of having interconnectivity and distributing their product quicker, faster, and more efficiently around the world. Controversial though they may be, you cannot deny that that company has a clear mission, a clear contribution. They have a clear target, right? Another great example, Facebook. Controversial though it may be, they have a mission to create connectivity around the world, to create a more connected society. What about Apple? Apple, now I'm going to upset everybody that owns an Android, but Apple, there's a reason why Apple is so successful. It isn't necessarily their product. Let's be real. I don't know if my iPhone is more superior than someone else's Android phone. In fact, I doubt it really is, because all the Android users constantly clown on me. But the reason why Apple is so successful is because they have created a cult of personality around the identity and culture of their company. That's why an Apple fan will always be an Apple fan. That's why when I take a phone call, it's on an iPhone. That's why this podcast, these videos, they're filmed on a MacBook, right? That's why. Because I bought into the culture, because I'm in love with it, right? The day I found myself buying an Apple Pencil, I was like, oh my God. I've become the thing that Trey Lansdale at 16 years old would hate, right? But it is what it is. There's contribution and mission. So people want to know that when they get out of bed every day and they get to work, that they're contributing to something greater than themselves. How do you give back to your community? How do you give back to your country? How do you give back to society? Are you a charitable organization? Are you making a positive impact, whether it's culturally, financially, economically? How do you give back to people around you? People want to work for something that matters. They want to stand for something that's real. The number one human desire in the world, above all else, the number one human desire, they want to feel like they belong. People want to feel like they belong. So what do they belong to where they work out with you? What do they belong to? What is it? Or do they just show up every day? They punch a clock, they do their timestamp, they get their paycheck, they go home, their head hits the pillow at night, their honey asks them, "Hey, how was your day, sweetheart?" And they're like, "Oh, just like every other day, it was a day." And there's zero passion and zero excitement. Is it like that? Or are they working towards something? And they're proud to be a part of it. And when they actually go home at night, yeah, sure, they're tired. But it's a good kind of tired. It's that tired where you bust your ass, but you're proud of the fact that you did. And you're proud of the work that you put in. Is it that kind of tired? That's a very different kind of tired. And that kind of tired comes through fulfillment. That's what it comes through. Fourth point. Point number 4. People want flexibility and freedom. Now, here's the deal. I'm in two minds of this. And the reason why I'm in two minds of it is because, quite frankly, I've been both. I've been an employee and I've ran a firm. I've had my own business and I have not. Now, in my mind, I'm always kind of leery of this concept that people should have complete and total control of their schedules, because in my opinion, if you're an employee and your employer is paying you for your time, they have a say in how you use that time. Here's the deal. Let's be quite frank. If you are working at a job, your employer and you have entered into a contract. That contract stipulates that you are worth a certain amount of income for a certain amount of hours. Now, outside of those hours, those are your hours. I don't care what you do with them. But that contract stipulates that with that time, they are paying you for that time. They have a say in how that time gets used, quite frankly. And by you agreeing to that, you have then agreed that you have sold that time for that income. You have said that the $20, $25, $30 an hour that you are paying me is worthwhile for me to give up a chunk of my time. for me to sell time in my life to work for you. Now, how would you like me to use that time, boss? So I do fall into that camp. I don't want to hide that fact. I do believe that. But on the flip side of it, I know what it's like to have complete control of my schedule. And guess what? I work way more effectively and way more efficiently, and I work way harder when I have complete control of my time, right? I just do. Right? I'm the kind of guy that when I have control of my schedule, I'm more motivated, I'm more driven, I use my time more effectively, I have a better work-life balance, I'm able to contribute to my community and to charity better, I'm able to do the things I want better, I'm just happier and more effective with control of my time. It's just facts, right? So in my mind, I think that there should be a bit of both. To a certain extent, yeah, if you're paying me for my time, then you should have a say in how that time gets used. But at the same time, if you want your people to actually feel motivated and inspired and not burnt out, and they're not waking up every day dreading going to work, it's okay to let them have control of that time. Because truth is, if they actually like working there and the environment's good and the culture is good and the workplace is awesome and they're working towards a mission and they're being paid well and recognized well, they actually are in a work environment they enjoy, guess what? Not only will they do the work, but they'll probably do it quicker. And they'll enjoy their time there way more anyways. Most people are not as lazy and ineffective as people like to paint them out to be. I hate this mentality that we have nowadays where, people are lazy and unorganized and they don't want to work. That's not true. If you give people autonomy and control over their time, their destiny, their future, and their work, more often than not, they'll surprise you. They'll be more motivated. They put in more effort. They put in more time. But they have to have the freedom. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to take it to a crazy degree, but yeah, when you have control of your time, it's cool that on a Monday, if I want to, I can go to a patio, right, and have a beer or two. I don't do very much of that these days. That's not really in line with my goals, but I used to, and it was fun. I like being able to do that. But I've also been in positions in my career where when I needed to take 3 months away for a family tragedy, not only was I able to do that and not worry about work, but I was able to make sure my bills and my expenses were paid. I still had income coming in. There was freedom. There was flexibility. And that was able to get me through a very dark point in my life when that happened. So I think that you should give people both, within reason, or explore the option for both. Because the more you give people control, the more they'll surprise you with that control. Which brings me into my final point. Point number 5, growth and development. People want growth and development. And this means so many things in so many different ways. It can be the fact that you invest time into your people, you coach them, you lead them, you mentor them, you teach them from a point of experience. You help guide them through life and their career to help them become better. It can be investments of cash and money and resources into your people through courses and training and universities and extracurriculars and continuing education to better develop them so that if they don't necessarily even stay with you for the rest of their career, they are better off because they were with you at one point and they're more equipped and they're more able to pursue their future. It also means development, developing people, investing in people. The one thing that I now believe more so than anything is that if you invest in your people, that will pay back returns and dividends that no product ever could, that no company resource ever could. The number one resource that we have is people. And how you choose to invest in them and build them and love on them and care on them and develop them is unbelievable what it can do for you, your life, your business. Because even if they don't stay, even if they're not with you long term, you've enriched their life. And now they move forward into the next chapter of their life. Guess what? They have you to thank for that. And you'll maintain healthy relationships with your people even after they're gone. And the ones that stay will be even better. They'll be even more well-trained. They'll be even more excited to work with you. They'll be even more equipped. They'll be even more skilled, even more efficient. You can't put a price on the development of your people. So I think that you have to hit them from every angle. I think you develop your people on a personal level. I think you develop your people on a resource level. I think you develop your people on a time level. I think you should invest in courses. I think you should invest in retreats. I think you should invest in continuing education. I think that you should give your people every tool that they need to succeed and win. And then I think you work on the environment. You develop the environment. You have a workplace culture filled with people that have great mindsets. They love what they do. They're properly recognized. They're being paid competitive pay. They have flexibility, freedom, and they're working towards a common goal and a mission. Oh my God, you do that, the game is forever changed. All of a sudden, you separate yourself from your competitors. You give people a workplace that they want to be a part of, that they want to work in, where they can thrive and excel and grow. And all of a sudden, you wake up one day and your business changes forever. Changes forever. And I know this because I've been the person who made those mistakes before. I've been the guy that didn't do any of these things. I've been the guy that blew my people out because I didn't know any better. And I was young and I was inexperienced and I was foolish. And if you weren't like me, I didn't know what was wrong with you and I'd blow you out of my company. If you were a client who didn't understand it, I'd blow you out of I would fire you as a client. I had a lot of growing to do and a lot of learning to do. But the interesting thing was, someone recognized me, loved me, cared about me, believed in me, gave me flexibility and freedom, invested time and effort into me and resources into me. And that's how I know. And now that we've started to do that with our people for many years now, it's been unrecognizable, this stage of our company, our career and our business versus earlier stages when I was growing and learning. And now flash forward to today. I mean, we're in every province in Canada, every state in the United States. Half of all licenses being applied for in this country are through our company. It's because of the work that we do and how we invest our time and effort into people. And that's how I know it works. And that's why I recommend it. So if you're a prospective business owner, or building a team, or you manage people, or you're a leader of people, these are 5 things that I think would benefit you and your culture and your environment. You can't put a price on a great culture. You can't put a price on great people. They will always pay back more than what you put into them. And if you're an employee looking for a new workplace or a new environment, or you're trying to tie your hat to a new company, these are things I'd look for. What's the environment like? What's the recognition like? What's the culture like? How do they build me? How do they develop me? Because if you find a place that does all these things, man, even if it doesn't last long term, your life will be changed forever. Your life will be enriched, and your career prospects moving forward will be greater as a result of that. So I appreciate you guys. I love you for watching this video. Thank you. Take care. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye now.